That is an incredible point. It's long, and so Janice Tjen takes it. Incredible stuff from the Indonesian. 8 points to 6 in the first set breaker. Takes it on. Oh, that's incredible. The volley. Waves on the WTA tour, playing in her very first main draw at 500 level. And it's victory for Janice Tjen. What a performance.
6-3.
Gets the better of Australia's #1.
You need to stop what you are doing right now and pay absolute attention, because we are about to expose a glitch in the reality of professional sports that the establishment prays you never notice. What happened in Abu Dhabi between Janice Tjen and Maya Joint is not just a tennis match. It is a psychological experiment gone wrong. It is a crime scene where a narrative was murdered in broad daylight. We are fed this lie day in and day out, that the rankings are the gospel truth, that the seeded players are the gods of the arena, and that the qualifiers, the unknowns, the players without the massive sponsorship deals, are just there to fill out the bracket and go home. But every once in a while, the universe decides to flip the table, and we witness something that defies logic, something that defies physics, and something that defies the very laws of human psychology. I want you to visualize the scene. You have Maya Joint, the Australian sensation, the player who has been tapped by the insiders as the next big thing, the player who walks onto the court with the weight of expectation and the confidence of the system behind her. And then on the other side of the net, you have Janice Tjen, a name that 99% of casual fans had never heard before. This moment, a player entering her very first main draw at the WTA 500 level. Do you understand what that means? It means she is stepping into the Coliseum with the Lions for the first time. The experts looked at this matchup, and they saw a routine straight sets victory for the favorite. The betting market saw a lock. The coaches saw a practice session. But what they didn't see was the heart of the person standing on the other side of the net. They didn't account for the fact that Janice Tjen operates on a frequency that they cannot measure. Let's talk about the first set, because this is where the trauma happened. This is where the soul of a tennis player was tested in the fire. Statistically speaking, when a player faces a set point, the odds of them losing the set are astronomical. It is effectively over. The pressure is at its maximum. The court shrinks, the arm gets heavy. The breathing gets shallow. Now imagine facing not one set point, not two set points, not three, not four, not five, but 6 separate set points. 6 times the executioner raised the axe, and 6 times Janice Tjen reached up and caught the blade with her bare hands. This is not normal behavior. This is the behavior of a sporting sociopath in the best possible way. Someone who refuses to acknowledge the reality of the score. Someone who looks at the abyss and laughs. You have to understand the physiology of what is. They were watching a ghost refuse to die. They were saying things like, she saves another one. She saves another one, until it became a chant, until it became a curse for Maya Joint. Let's flip the perspective for a second and talk about the favorite, because this is a tragedy. Imagine you are Maya Joint. You are the better player on paper. You have the lead, you have the opportunity to close the door and take a shower. And you get to the finish line and the door is slammed in your face. You reset, you try again, and the door slams again. You do this 6 times. Do you know what that does to the human brain? It destroys your confidence. It introduces a virus into your operating system called doubt. By the time the 4th or 5th set point slipped away, Maya Joint wasn't playing against Janice Tjen anymore. She was playing against her own demons. She was playing against the sudden realization that she might not be in control, and that is the scariest feeling in the world for an elite athlete. The loss of control, the realization that the script isn't working, and Tjen just kept coming. She was like a Terminator, absolutely relentless. Every ball came back with interest. Every rally was extended until the favorite crashed. And when they finally got to that tiebreak, the energy shift was palpable. You could feel it through the screen. The air had been sucked out of the stadium for one player and injected into the lungs of the other. Tjen winning that first set 7-6 was not just a scoreline. It was she stole the soul of the match. She stole the momentum, and she stole the belief from her opponent's eyes. And
stunning stuff. They're going to change ends at 4-2 for Janice Tjen. And that's well done. You have to move to those balls very, very fast. And beautifully constructed.
You are alone on an island. You can't call a timeout and ask your teammates to carry you. You have to stand there and face the person who just humiliated you. And Tjen was ruthless. The 6-3 scoreline in the second set was a mercy killing. She took the ball early. She dictated the play. She moved with a lightness that comes from knowing you have already survived the worst. She was playing with house money and she was betting it all on black. The footage shows her hitting winners from defensive positions. It shows her turning defense into offense in the blink of an eye. This is the sign of a player who has entered the flow state. That mystical zone where time slows down and the ball looks the size of a watermelon. Meanwhile, her opponent was stuck in the mud, moving heavy, thinking too much, hesitant. The difference between a player who is thinking and a player who is reacting is the difference between winning and losing. And Tjen was pure reaction, pure instinct, pure fire. I want to talk about the system that tries to keep players like this down. The ranking system is designed to protect the top players. The seeds get the buys, they get the easy draws, they get the center court scheduling. The qualifiers like Tjen have to fight through the mud just to get to the starting line. They have to win multiple matches just to earn the right to lose to a seed. So when a qualifier breaks through and beats a rising star like this, it is a victory for the working class of the tennis world. It is a signal to every player grinding in the... You can see it in her reaction at the end. The fist pump, the scream, it wasn't just relief. It was validation. It was her telling herself and the world that she is not an imposter, that she is the real deal. And let me tell you something else about the conditions. Abu Dhabi is not an easy place to play. The heat is suffocating, the court speed can be tricky. The ball flies through the air differently. To adapt to those conditions in your first major W500 appearance, and to exhibit that level of patience, is mastery. Plain and simple. We need to stop looking at rankings as a measure of skill, and start looking at them as a measure of consistency. Because on any given Sunday, or in this case, any given weekday, in the Middle East, a player ranked outside the top hundreds can play like a top 10 player. The talent depth in women's tennis right now is deeper than the Mariana Trench. There are sharks swimming at every level, and if you are not 100% focused, you will get eaten. Maya Joint found that out the hard way. She walked in expecting a sparring match and she walked out needing a medic for her ego. And I don't say that to be mean. I say that to emphasize the brutality of the sport. Tennis is boxing without the punching. It is a combat sport, where you don't touch your opponent but you try to destroy them from 80 feet away. And the weapon of choice is not the forehand or the backhand. It is the mind. Tjen's mind was a fortress, impenetrable, unshakable, unbreakable. Imagine the frustration of hitting your best shot, painting the line thinking you have won the point, and the ball comes back. Imagine doing it again and it comes back again. That is what Tjen did. She became a wall, and nothing is more frustrating than playing against a wall that hits back. This match should be studied in sports psychology classes. It should be shown to every junior player in the world. The lesson is not about technique. Tjen has great technique, but so does everyone else at this level. The lesson is about refusal. The refusal to accept defeat, the refusal to agree with the scoreboard, the refusal to let the moment be too big for you. When she was down those set points, she didn't look at the umpire, she didn't look at her box, she looked inward. She found a reserve of power that most people go their whole lives without tapping into. And that is what separates the champions from the participants. Not the trophies, but the ability to dig deep when the shovel hits rock. There is a conspiracy of silence around matches like this. The big networks don't want to highlight the upsets because it destabilizes the marketable star. They want you to focus on the big names, the Grand Slam winners, the faces on the billboards. But the real stories, the real drama, the real human spirit is found in these early round matches where careers are made and broken in the shadow. Janice didn't just win a tennis match. She announced a revolution. She announced that the hierarchy is fragile. She proved that if you stay in the fight long enough, if you just keep your head above water, eventually the tide will turn. And when the tide turned, she rode that wave all the way to the shore while her opponent drowned in the undertow. I want you to ask yourself a question. What would you do if you were in that situation? Be honest. If you failed 6 times to close out a task, would you have the strength to keep going? Or would you crumble? Most of us would crumble. That is why we sit in the stands and they stand in the arena. Because they are built different. But even among the elite, Tjen showed something rare. She showed the clutch gene. You can't teach that. You can't coach that. You are either born with it or you are not. And clearly she has it in her DNA. This victory is going to send shockwaves through her career. The ranking points are nice, the prize money is great, but the belief is priceless. Once you know you can survive 6 executions, you know you can survive anything. She is going to walk into her next match 10 feet tall, and every opponent who watches this, it is harsh, but it is true. Maya Joint will learn from this. She is young. She is talented. She will be back, but she will never forget the name Janice Tjen. That name is now carved into her psyche. It is a scar that will remind her to never take a point for granted. And for the rest of us, it is a reminder that in the game of life and in the game of tennis, it is not over until the handshake. Never give up, never surrender, and then ever let them tell you that you are out of the fight. Because as long as you have a racket in your hand and a pulse in your veins, you have a chance to do the impossible. Just like Janice Tjen did in Abu Dhabi. This is the story they don't want you to know. This is the deep dive into the mind of a giant killer. And if you are not motivated by this, then I don't know what will wake you up. This is pure high-octane inspiration disguised as a sport. So share this with everyone you know. Because the world needs to see that the underdogs still have teeth. The world needs to see that the system can be beaten. The world needs to know the name Janice Tjen. Remember where you were when you heard this story. Because this is just the beginning for her. The first chapter of a book that is going to be a bestseller. The rise of the unranked. The revenge of the qualifier. The silence of the critic. It is all happening right now and you are watching it unfold. Keep your eyes open because the next glitch in the matrix is coming. And you don't want to miss it. This has been a deep dive into the anomaly of Abu Dhabi. Now go out there and face your own set points with the same fight, the same ice in your veins, and the same refusal to lose, because if she can do it 6 times in a row, you can do it once. Believe in the comeback, because the comeback is always greater than the setback. And Janice Tjen is the living, breathing proof of that fact.